Okay, today we're going to show you how to install Coombe Millennium II pedals and cleats. And the first thing we're going to do is show you how simple it is to install one of the cleats. We've got a little bag here. It has our mounting hardware in it for the cleats, as well as 4 leveling screws that may or may not be needed depending on the shoe sole curvature and how closely it matches the cleat. So let's take a look at that. Pull the cleat out of the rubber walking pad, and we've got a left cleat here, you can see with the L. So we're going to line that with the eyelets in the shoe, and we can see by looking at it that it very closely matches the curvature of the shoe sole. So we're not going to need the optional leveling screws. We'll put those to the side, and we're just going to simply put the cleat back into the rubber walking pad. It'll snap in there, and line it up with the mounting holes, and put one of the screws in. And normally you would want to put a little bit of grease or a removable thread locker on the screws to prevent them from rusting if you're riding in rain or wet weather. But we're not going to do that for this demonstration. This is just to show how simple it is to install the cleats. So once the screws are tight, you'll want to retorque them after the first couple rides, and then check them every few rides after that to make sure they're not loosening up. And there we are, ready to go. To install the pedals, we're first going to put a light coating of grease on the threads to prevent seizing between the stainless steel axle and the aluminum insert in the crank arm. And this is a right-hand thread, so we're going to thread it in clockwise. And once we get it flush with the crank arm, we're going to use the shorter end. We want to insert that all the way in fully, give it a good snugging, and it's ready to go. To engage the pedals, we're just bringing our foot forward onto the pedal like any pedal. But the difference is, once we're forward, we rotate out and back. Now you're fully engaged, there's 3 degrees of float, and we just twist out to disengage like any pedal. To lubricate the bearings, you want to hold the end cap on very firmly with your thumb, and simply use a 5mm hex key to push the grease plunger a couple millimeters down into the axle. Give it a spin, and they should have a little bit of grease that'll push past the seal. So we're going to wipe that off, and you're good to go for another 3,000 miles.